Welcome to the Nutrition Collaborative podcast, where we cut through the noise, bust the myths, and bring you nothing but truth about health, fitness, and everything in between. I'm Alec Moore, dietitian, and each week we'll dive into what really works when it comes to achieving lasting health and fitness. No gimmicks, no BS, just real talk, real success stories, and a holistic approach to living your healthiest life. Whether you're here for practical tips, inspiration from real client journeys, or just to find out what's actually worth your time, this is the podcast for you. Let's break it down, get empowered, and focus on what truly matters for your health. And jumping right on in to another episode. Today, we're discussing those sneaky hidden calories and where the heck they're coming from during your weight loss. Some folks will start to stall on their weight loss journey for a number of reasons, but this is definitely one of them. Hidden calories, or calories that you're not necessarily paying close attention to. This is not saying, we're not saying here that you're accidentally consuming broccoli that has an extra 1,000 calories, right? It's nothing on that level is not going to be out there. But what we're going to talk about is more about the habits or, things like the weekends or restaurants, things like that in your day-to-day that you may not be fully aware of, or you may easily overlook during weight loss. And so if your weight stalls for a little bit of time, oftentimes these few reasons I'm going to explain today are the culprit. But before I dive into, I wanted to extend my appreciation to all the listeners today. So if you have been listening to this point, to the NC podcast, just know we appreciate you, and we're going to keep them going. And we had lots of fun. I had Coach Steven on last week, and so I think we're going to be incorporating more guests as we move forward, because I had a lot of fun just having more of a conversation than just sitting here talking to you on my own. So I had a lot of fun. It felt good. We got a lot of good feedback from that episode as well with Coach Steven. So I think, it sounds like you guys are enjoying the more conversation type of podcast than just me alone up here. So stay tuned. We're going to have more guests. We're going to have client guests. We're going to continue to open this conversation of what's really working for the real people out there, not the people that social media wants you to believe or think is the only way to do a certain thing, but real lives, parents, hardworking people who have been either misguided or misled before, or who just have not had any guidance and are now crushing it on their journeys with a little bit of support. So again, thanks so much for tuning in to this point. I believe we are on episode about 18 now. So we're going to keep on moving and grooving, educating you guys, and showing up each week to bring you something new and valuable. So thank you. Now let's go ahead and dive on into today's episode. So the first ingredient or item that comes to mind when I think of overlooked sources of calories during weight loss: cooking oils and cooking sprays. So you'll see on a bottle, or you'll see on a container, like one of those oil sprays, it says 0 calories, but there's no such thing as 0 calorie oil. They just, with labeling laws, are able to give you such a small, quote unquote, portion, or serving size. There may be over 100 servings in one spray bottle of oil, because the spray is just like the smallest, tiniest little spray is what they're calling a serving. And so rounded down to 0 calories. But if you were to dump that entire bottle, that spray bottle, take the sprayer off of it, off the top, and dump the whole thing onto the pan, it would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calories. So seeing 0 and spraying a ton, that can give you some accidental, an extra 100 calories a day if you're doing way too much. And then just cooking with them too. So accidentally putting too much in, not accounting for it or tracking it. At restaurants, it's the same situation. Not knowing the oils that they're cooking with. and accidentally consuming an extra, 200, 300, 400 calories just from oils sometimes, depending on how your food's made or what you're eating. So that's going to be number one, is accidentally consuming too much oil. The thing about oils is it's just very calorically dense. And so you can have such a tiny little portion and it does contain a lot of calories because it's just pure fat. So that is something to be on the lookout for if you're not already during your weight loss. So that's easily number one on the list, because it's so easy to overconsume, because you get any volume from it or any satiety or fullness from it, because it's an oil. The next one that a lot of you are going to connect with, coffee add-ins. So the creamers, mixers, sweeteners, all of those, whipped cream, can easily run you up to 1,000 calories within a coffee quickly. Anytime you have the opportunity to say, to modify the drink, do it. A lot of them will come with a calorically dense milk or add-in, such as literal just cream. Cream is, heavy whipping cream is very calorically dense. So if you like to use that in your coffee and you're not accounting for it or tracking it, that may be causing you to overconsume calories and not realize how many you're actually consuming the rest of the day. And so, and the thing about the coffee add-ins is that it's a daily ritual type of thing, right? So you're doing that daily, and that can add up. If you're doing an accidental, unaccounted for 200 calories 7 days a week from the coffee that you get in the morning, that's 1,400 extra calories on the week. And that may be putting you into a surplus, and you may be gaining weight just from the coffee add-ins. So it's not just the milk or the cream. It's also, any sweeteners or syrups that they add in or sugar that they add in. So always recommend for coffee, knowing what you're ordering and accounting for it, no matter what it is, but making some modifications with the barista, whoever's taking your order, to get a lower calorie mix in or lower calorie add in for your creamer or your milk-based product, or plant-based milk product alternative, and your syrups. Ask for sugar-free syrup, ask for sugar-free flavoring, ask for stevia. All of those are great and will help you bring those calories down. Those two, I'm telling you what, on a daily basis, people are over-consuming and not realizing it. Is the coffee add-ins. They're like, oh, it's just my morning coffee. I don't need to track it. But if your goal is weight loss here, and this is who we're talking to, if your goal is not weight loss, then enjoy your coffee. Okay. So I hope those two help, because the oils and the coffee are going to add up so quickly, and they're such a daily use thing that's why they're number one and number two on the list. Let's go ahead and jump into number three. When you're cooking your kiddos' food, or you're cooking for other people and you want to try a little bit of their food, if you're trying to lose weight, those unaccounted calories are really what's going to add up. So if you have that morning coffee, an extra 200 on accident that you didn't account for, then you go to lunch with the girls and you get an entree, and you don't realize that they accidentally, or not that they accidentally, but that they cooked with a lot of heavy oil. You didn't realize it and didn't account for it. That was an extra 200 calories. So now you're up an extra 400 calories by noon, just from not accounting for some of these sneaky hidden sources of calories. Then for dinner, you're cooking your kiddos, buffalo mac and cheese, and you want to try a couple bites, and it sounds really good. But then you're also making your significant others, and ooh, that looks good. I want to try a little bit of that. You might have another 200 calories unaccounted for from those things. So now we're looking at 600 calories up on the day that we didn't account for, which could literally be making you gain weight. And this is not here. I'm not here to fear monger or, spread fear or anything like that around weight loss. It's just the reality of what calories are and where they are, and how easy it is to accidentally overconsume them if we're not consistently looking out for them and tracking anything that we eat. So the snacking, that's number three, is just snacking and grazing while either cooking other things or, just trying the bites or the licks or the tastes of this or that while you're waiting on your meal. Those, just because you didn't punch it into your food tracker doesn't mean your body didn't consume it and know that what those calories are, right? Your body doesn't know if you tracked it or not. Your metabolism doesn't know if you tracked it or not. Those are the top three easily. Now, the next one is like calorically dense foods such as nut butter. So anytime Well, we could also just include nuts and seeds in there too. So not just nut butter, but calorically dense things. So, a handful of nuts could easily be 200-300 calories. You could have 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, and then the very next day have another tablespoon of peanut butter. But how much you pulled out of that spoon could literally be double the calories as the day before. So it is very calorically dense. So just like the oils. So you pull a big spoonful out and you think it's only 150 calories, but in reality it's 300. You do that twice a day, that's 300 extra calories on accident a day. Over the span of 7 days, that's 2,100 extra calories in peanut butter alone on accident, just because you didn't account for it or portion it out or weigh it out. So those types of products are going to be very easy to accidentally overconsume if you're not accounting for it and portioning it out. Which stinks because I'm a big peanut butter fan myself. Well, almond butter is the move for sure. But they are so calorically dense that if you're not portioning them out, weighing them out, measuring them out during weight loss, they can easily add up to be the one food product that's holding you back from all your weight loss success. That's how significant it is, because it's really hard to tell just by looking at the peanut butter. If you were to literally take 1 jar of peanut butter, 2 spoons, take a big spoonful, take another spoonful, they almost look identical on the spoon, but could literally be double in calories because of how calorically dense they are per weight or volume. The next one's a big one, actually, that we're going to talk about, sauces, condiments, and dressings. So dressings for salads, sauces for different types of meals and side dishes. Those can easily be anywhere from 100 to 400 calories per entree or per serving. So think of things like, ketchup, barbecue sauce, teriyaki sauce, mayo even, spicy mayo, and many different like cream-based sauces or dressings. Anything that says creamy this or, creamy pasta or whatever is easily going to add hundreds more calories. A tip I like to give out for dressings is always ask for it on the side. Never get your dressing, because they're going to fill the entire 2-ounce little dressing cup on top of your salad for you. But if you do it yourself, you'll realize that you only need like 0.5 to 1 ounce total of dressing to make the salad still taste great, still get all the dressing that you really need from it and to flavor up the salad, but without just absolutely dousing it and drenching it in all of that dressing. And then it's an extra 200 calories when it doesn't change the flavor of the salad at all, because you didn't even need that much in the first place. So that can be really easy. And you think, you're ordering a salad, oh, it's healthy. Those dressings might add up really quickly, such as the ranch or the vinaigrettes, where they're oil-based. Very easy to pack a punch of 300 calories additional in your salad that was quote unquote healthy. And that's why you ordered it in the first place. So you may have to start looking out for that and order maybe like fat-free ranch or a lower fat vinaigrette or Italian, or just ask for it on the side and use it sparingly. Use a little bit as you need, and that'll easily save you hundreds of calories. And another thing with like condiments and sauces and such, they are such small portion sizes or serving sizes. So, it's usually about 2 tablespoons. So even, you use just a little bit amount, you could be consuming an extra anywhere from 50 to 200 calories per serving, depending on what that sauce or dressing or condiment is. So, I like to use the example of like Chick-fil-A sauce. I mean, you look at reduced fat ketchup and you're looking at like 20 calories a serving, 40 calories a serving. And then you look at, reduced sugar ketchup, you're looking at 20 to 40 calories per serving. But then you go and you look at Chick-fil-A sauce. Oh, I love it for sure. But wow, it really packs a punch of calories. It's like nearly 200 calories, and most people don't just consume one for their meal. They'll do like one on their sandwich and one for their fries or whatever. That's extra 400 calories just in sauce that did nothing to fill you up, nothing to nourish you. So those are real troubling for fat loss. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alcohol is a big one. Alcohol is very easily overconsumed, overlooked. Margarita can be literally 500 calories. Any margarita can drop it to like 250 to 300 calories. So just being aware of that and smart with modifications, you can save yourself hundreds of calories just by saying, hey, server, or hey, bartender, I want to do this instead of this, just because I'm a little bit aware of the differences. That alone saves me hundreds of calories, but it's just something to look out for, like mojitos, margaritas, sugary drinks, with like sugary based mixers are going to definitely be a very, very commonly overlooked source of calories during weight loss. And I mean, we have to just look at how much alcohol are you drinking in general for weight loss, because it will prevent fatty acid oxidation. It will prevent you from losing fat or burning fat. So if you're consuming alcohol once or twice a week, every week, you're really only getting 4-ish, maybe 5 days of fat burn out of every 7. So you're not reaching your full potential if you're consuming alcohol regularly during weight loss. It also makes you like start to skip your tracking because you're intoxicated. It also makes you kind of overconsume those other things that we've talked about so far, right? Such as the oils in the beginning, the bites, licks, and tastes, right? So those things can add up when you're intoxicated because you're not going to be as aware of consumption, and you're going to care less. Intoxication usually leads to decision making that you might not be fully present for, if that makes sense, right? Cognitively. Alcohol is a big one. Yep. And it also impairs your satiety too. It kind of messes with that. So you can kind of easily overconsume calories after consuming alcohol because you're not really fully aware of like your hunger and fullness cues as they start to get a little bit blurred, if you will. Liquid calories, so juices, things like that, smoothies, you can easily overconsume because you're just not going to get as full. It's not a solid food. It's not a solid product or item. So you're not going to get as full, and it may not take up as much room in your tummy, but it still packs a punch of calories. So liquid calories are definitely a troubling one for a lot of people, and especially like something like coconut water. We already talked about the oils. Coconut water. So it's great. It's considered quote unquote healthy. It's got a lot of potassium in it, tons of potassium in it. Really, really hydrating for you. Really, really healthy for you at the end of the day, but packs a punch a ton of sugar. So, one bottle or container of coconut water can be anywhere from, 25 carbs extra to 65, depending on the size of the container. I mean, if you're drinking one a day, but you think it's healthy and you're not tracking your food, so you're just like, oh, well, it's healthy, I'm going to drink it. You might actually be overconsuming by hundreds of calories that way. Another one is just eyeballing. So underlogging, that is another really big one that we often see. Even if it's a clean food, you can easily still overconsume because it still has calories in it, right? So underlogging, portion sizes or eyeballing portion sizes. So for oats, for example, thinking that you only put, a fourth of a cup in there, but you actually put 3/4 cup, you just eyeballed it or estimated it. There's several hundred more calories that you were not aware of or accounting for. And it's not just oats, lots of different food products or sources go easily overlooked. Hey y'all, we have had a technical error with our recording, so we will pick this episode up next week, right where we left off. I definitely apologize for this, but nothing we can do about it, and we'll catch you next week. We appreciate you listening.